So let's cover the bases. We're talking DFS and Sportsbook strategy ahead of this slate. Let's go first base. Paul, hook me up with your favorite pitcher tonight, dude.
I'm going to get chalk all over me in this segment. My first one this season. Go easy on me, guys.
Okay.
Alex Manoah versus Baltimore at home. Yes, please. The guy's 7-1, 181 ERA, over 62 and 2/3 innings. The strikeout to walk ratio is outstanding. He is must-watch TV if you can tune him in. Very entertaining guy to watch. He's got Kyle Bradish on the other side for the Orioles, giving up 10 homers and only 37.2 innings pitched. I know we're early, but I want somebody to tell me why Manoah wouldn't be the Game 1 starter for Toronto in a playoff series later this year. Marlins pitcher Sandy Alcantara, $10,200 is his price tag, performing like a throwback to an earlier era, folks. Look at him over his last six starts. The innings pitched 9, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, allowing a total of 24 hits and only 3 earned runs while striking out 46, walking 8 over those 48 innings pitched. I only remember seeing numbers like that when I had my best years in Stratomatic leagues from a couple of my starters years ago. And then finally, Yu Darvish versus the Cubs. A little less chalk. He's only $8,400 relative to the other big boys, but the right-hander now owns a 3.61 ERA, a whip just a shade over 1, which is rare these days. A nice strikeout to walk ratio across 11 starts, and he's facing a Cubs team that's on a 6-game losing streak.
All right, hook me up, Erik. Who do you like as your favorite pitcher tonight?
Yeah, well, first thing, I think I'd still go Kevin Gausman in Game 1, but I don't know if we have time for a full Blue Jays rotation breakdown here. Alek Manoah was one of my top guys, but I figured he'd probably be one of our Canadian friends' top guys here as well. So I'm going to talk about my other top choice, which is Alex Wood at 8,300 against a pretty unimpressive Royals team that ranks 23rd by Team WRC+. Game will take place in pitcher-friendly Oracle Park. Wood's 4.23 ERA doesn't look all that good, but if you look under the hood, it's totally fine. I don't really see any issues here. Pretty much all the ERA estimators have him about a run better than that. And he's allowed just 3 runs across his last 2 starts, so it seems like his luck is starting to turn around. His strikeout rate is down from last year, although last year was more of an outlier. Still roughly average at 23.3%. When you combine that with a 6.4% walk rate, which is quite strong, and a 49.1% ground ball rate, which is solidly above average, it's just a very solid all-around pitcher in a good park and a good matchup for a pretty affordable price. So I like him probably alongside Manoah here.
All right, easy. Second base now. Give me your favorite hitter.
Yeah, let's just go with Juan Soto. He's at 5,100. He's hitting 230 this year, and I think there's definitely been some people worried. I've had people in the comments of some of my articles saying, what's up with Juan Soto? Nothing, I think. His BABIP in his career had never been below 312. It's often in like the 330s. This year it's 228, but nothing seems to be different, really, notably in his batted ball profile. That would explain a 100-point drop there. His strikeout rate, okay, it's up a tick from last year, but it's still just 15.3%. It's not like 1 percentage point. It makes a big difference there. It's still well below his absurd 18.2% walk rate. His barrel rate, okay, that's down as well, but it's down 0.5 percentage point from last year, and it's still very strong at 12.8%. His expected batting average of 281 says he's getting about 50 points worth of bad luck this year. His expected slugging is about 120 points above his actual slugging. So I'm expecting Juan Soto to be Juan Soto the rest of the way. I'm not worried at all. I'm perfectly happy paying the premium price for him here against Ian Anderson, who's been pretty mediocre, despite coming onto the scene with a lot of excitement a couple years ago. 4.53 ERA this year looks pretty deserved. Strikeout rate under 20%, walk rate above 10%. It's just not a very intimidating opponent for a guy like Soto.
Yo, Paul, how much money are you going to be spending here on your favorite hitter?
Well, I got a couple of guys in mind, but I begin with Byron Buxton. I don't know how you even contemplate a lineup after the week this guy had. For $4,900, you get a guy who went 7 for 21, leading the majors with 5 homers and an OPS of 1.5. He's got to be in there for sure. I also like Jose Altuve, another high-end bat that will attract big-time ownership today, but you don't want to miss out. He's facing a lefty and Taylor Hearn. I think the Astros go to town here, and Altuve will be in the middle of all of that.
All right, dudes. Let's go to the hot corner, third base. Favorite value. Who do you got, Erik?
Yeah, I'm going to go actually back to the mound here. Talk about Zach Thompson, the cheapest starter on the slate. This is Zach Thompson of the Cardinals, not Zach Thompson of the Pirates. We could have gotten a all Zach Thompson battle, but unfortunately it's not in the cards here. Thompson, not a huge prospect, although he was a first-round pick in 2019. A 4.67 ERA for AAA Memphis this year, but that came with a 30.1% strikeout rate, which should give him a decent amount of fantasy upside. He made his major league debut in early June in relief, allowed just 1 earned run in 4 innings. He's not somebody who necessarily projects stardom, but you don't have to be close to a star to be justifying a $4,300 price at pitcher. If you go with Thompson next to, say, a guy like Manoah or Wood, you're saving about $500 per hitter compared to an average pitcher. So I absolutely would take the extra $500 on all my hitters alongside a pitcher who I think is going to be competent, especially because he gets to face the Pirates, a team that's in the bottom 3 in Team WRC Plus this season.
All right, what position are you looking at here for a favorite value play, Paul?
I like the Pirates outfielder Brian Reynolds for $3,900. He's in play for me, coming off a 16 for 39 week. You know my history. I like the hot bat and riding a guy who's hitting for power as well. 3 homers and 7 ribbies in that mix. In the same game, I'll go to the other dugout and say Tyler O'Neill's worth a look, priced at $3,300. You get a guy with 3 multi-hit efforts in his last 6 starts. I like that too. But finally, Jurison Profar might be the most interesting one for me. On a tear for the Padres with 14 hits in his last 40 at-bats. Gets the favorable matchup on the friendly confines of Wrigley tonight, costing $3,700.
Take us home, Erik. Favorite run line or money line bet on the DK Sportsbook? Which game are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm liking Padres minus 30 at the Cubs. I'm not sure if the odds makers have watched the Cubs recently. Over their last 7 games, they've been outscored 8-3 on average. They've been, sending position players up to the mound who are throwing 33 miles per hour or whatever it is. It's been ugly here in Wrigley, and I don't see that turning around in this matchup. Yu Darvish isn't what he once was, but he's still fine. 3.61 ERA is about in the middle of what the ERA estimators say. Strikeout rate is down to just 20.1%, but he's not walking guys, 5.6% walk rate. He's been up and down throughout the year, but he's coming off a very good up against the Mets in his last start, allowed just 2 hits and 7 shutout innings. Justin Steele on the other side, I don't see a lot to get excited about. Maybe he has a future as a back-end starter, but nothing more than that. 4.79 ERA on the season is a little worse than the ERA estimators, but about a slightly below average strikeout rate with a very high 12.3% walk rate. Not a lot there. I don't think he's the guy to turn around this skid for the Cubs.
All right, Paul, favorite run line or money line bet? Where are you going?
I like the hot pitcher of the Marlins. Back to Alcantara I go to continue his recent role, leading the visitors to a win in Philly tonight for the plus 115 on the money line. I expect the Astros to have their way in Texas, as I implied earlier, so take the visitors minus 1.5 for the plus 100 on the run line. And then I look for an old-fashioned pitcher's duel in Philly. We haven't seen too many of those all year, but there's 2 solid guys on the mound, so I'm going to go to the under 7.5 prop in that one.
All right, we got extra bases here too. Paul, favorite player prop you like on the DK Sportsbook right now?
Well, I watched Vladdy Guerrero on the weekend, and he'd been in a slump for about a month, guys, and looks to me like he's about to go off. He had 5 hits over the weekend. I say he goes deep tonight for that plus 300 payoff. He loves facing the Orioles, and they're going to take the visitors to the woodshed tonight, I think, in Toronto. Ronald Acuna has 5 multi-hit gains in his last 10 starts. The superstar has capitalized of late, and I like the hot power hitter who's also putting the ball in play safely, so I look for him to go deep in Washington. I got Washington for the plus 220. And then an easy one on the pitcher side, Alek Manoah to strike out more than 5.5 in the minus 145 prop bet.
All right, where are you going here, Erik?
Yeah, there's something interesting going on in the Marlins-Phillies odds here. That's a game that Paul touched on briefly. The Phillies are favored. Looks like it's now minus 130 versus plus 110. Yet Sandy Alcantara is considered more likely to get a win than Aaron Nola. Alcantara is plus 150 for a win. Nola is plus 165. So I'd say if you are looking at the Phillies here, consider just betting on Nola to get a win instead. Obviously, you won't win if the bullpen gets that win. But I just can't see the Phillies winning if Nola doesn't have a good day against a pitcher of Alcantara's caliber. I think for the Phillies to win this one, it's going to have to be because Nola outpitches Alcantara, which I think he absolutely could do. I think they're both excellent pitchers. I would probably slightly prefer Nola there. So I'm taking Nola for plus 165 to get a win if I'm looking to bet the Phillies tonight.